Welcome. With workflows, you will come to understand that every image cannot be edited with same type of filters under filter stack. For example, Accent AI filter is the hero filter of Luminar 2018. That doesn't mean that you have to utilize it in all of your images. If any image doesn't require a specific filter, then just don't push that filter into the image. We may use few common filters like highlights oblique shadows, whites oblique blacks, etc. on each and every image we edit, but sometimes stacking really matters. If an image is shot perfectly, try to use minimum number of filters considering the fact that overdoing sometimes completely ruins the image. In this landscape, we have two paths: water body on the top part of the image and rocks on the bottom part of the image. I am not going to add any filter to our main image layer, that is dsc underscore 0023.nef. Let me add a new adjustment image layer. I click on plus button over here and select add new adjustment layer. Layer 0 adjustment layer is created. So now I can add filters to this layer. Since this image has a water body to it, we need to be very careful. An abnormal amount of boost in any particular filter will completely ruin this image. We may lose the naturality of the image. Let us begin with highlight shadows filter. So let me click on add filters and select highlight shadows filter. Okay, let me close the filter catalog. I am going to recover 100% highlights and also going to boost the shadows 100% up. Similarly, let's go ahead and add one more filter, that is whites blacks filter. I am going to increase the white slider by say about 51%. Okay. And I'm going to decrease the blacks by a small amount, say about okay, minus 18%. Fine. Now let's move to our next filter, and this time we select clarity. If I drag this slider to 100 units, you can see that the water body is no more natural. It looks dramatic, whereas the rocks at the bottom are fine with 100 units of clarity. Let me drag back the slider to a very small amount. 8 units is okay for the overall image. Now let us move to our next filter, and this time it would be dehaze filter. I drag the amount slider to 100%. It also has a greater effect on water body. So we drag down the slider to say about 40 units. It's a win-win situation. Now let's go ahead and add our hero filter, that is Accent AI filter. Dragging the boost slider to 100 units won't be a good idea in this case because it is heavily affecting this image. So I would keep it under 50 units. Say about 40 units. Okay. Okay, 40 units. Now let's one more filter, that is polarizing filter. Okay. Polarizing filter comes really handy in case of water bodies because it adds bluish tone to the water and eradicates all sorts of reflections, giving a all total clean and natural look to the image. It also helps to increase the smoothness of water body within an image. Let me give it a small boost around 20 units. Okay, I think I can increase the slider a bit more. 28 units would be perfect. Let us now move ahead and add high key filter. High key filter will add glow to our image. I hope it looks good. A small boost in the amount slider. It looks good. Next, I am going to select Auto Effect filter. Auto Effect will enhance an image which has glow and focus. It helps you to add a unique look to your photos. But for this particular image, I want to apply this Auto Effect filter only on the water body part of the image. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on this brush icon and select brush and click this eyeball button over here. After this, I am going to start painting on this water body. You can say that the red indicating mark is covering the areas wherever my brush tool brushes off. You can decrease the size of the brush at the edges, but for the purpose of demonstration, I'm not doing so. You can do it. For example, I decrease the brush to 51% and start covering the edges near the rocks. Okay, so we have done it. Now you can finally click this done button, and now this auto effect will only be applied to this water body only. So let me increase the amount slider. Okay, 44 units is perfect. Let me increase the softness. And I can add a bit of brightness to the water body. So let me increase the slider and bring it to a value of 30 units. Okay, now if I toggle off this eyeball button on and off, you can see what is the effect on this water body. Okay, the rocks at the bottom of the image are untouched by this auto effect filter. So let's move ahead and try to enhance the bottom part of the image. To do so, let us first start with structure. Structures will bring up the details in these rocks. Okay. And similarly, in this case, since we want to only affect this rocks and not the water body, and why I'm doing so, you can see if I increase the slider on the entire image, what happens? The totally image is destroyed. So structures applying on waters is not going to work. So we just need to affect this rocks. So what I'm going to do is that double click on this amount slider to reinitialize it and click on the brush icon over here and select this brush option. Okay, you can click this eyeball button over here to remove this entire red indicating parts. Okay, and now you can increase the brush size. Okay, and start painting. Initially, you may not see the red line, so you need to click this eyeball button once again. Okay, now you can see this. Fine, let's go ahead and paint the entire rock surface. Let me decrease the size of the brush so that I can cover the edges. Great, we did it. Now, let me finally click on this done button and now increase the amount slider. Great. You can see that it only affected the rocks at the bottom of the image. The water body was totally untouched. Similarly, now let's go ahead and once again add clarity. Okay, but this time I want to apply this clarity filter particularly to these rocks only. So what I'm going to do is that again I am going to click on this brush icon over here and choose brush. Great. Click on the red eyeball button over here and increase the brush size. Fine, this is enough, and start painting. Initially you don't see the red line, then just go to this red eyeball button and click it once. Yes, you can see now the red indicating surfaces. So let's go ahead and paint the rock surfaces. You need to be very careful so that this red indicating areas don't extend to the water body. Otherwise, clarity is again going to affect the water body and the image is going to be completely ruined. Let me decrease the brush circle size. Okay, this is perfect. Okay, I think I'm done with it. Fine. Okay, enough. Now, let's click on the done button and now increase the amount slider. Great. Now, if you toggle on this button on and off, you can judge the clarity filter's effect on these rocks only. Did you notice how the structures have come out over here in this part of the image and this part of the image on this boulder, a small areas within darks? So everything has got a boost. Let me toggle this off once again so that you can judge it. Can you see? These areas are faded out at the original state. But when I switch on this clarity filter, just see the effect. Now you can see a greater details on this particular areas. Great. Now let's go ahead and add dehaze filter. Similarly, this time also I want to apply this dehaze filter particularly to this rocky areas only. So I select this brush icon over here and choose brush. Click on this eyeball button to remove the red indicating parts. Increase the size of the brush to 100 units. Enough. and start painting. Initially, I can't see the indicating area, so I re-click on this eyeball button, and now I can see the red indicating parts, so I go ahead and start painting. Okay, we are done. So let me click on this done button and give it a boost to dehaze. Great. Now the rocks have really come up a long way. Great details are coming out from the rocky parts of the image. Let's go ahead and add polarizing filter to this rocky regions, because there are too much of reflection of light that I can see in this part of the image. So let me add polarizing filter. Okay, here it is. And this time it would be targeted to the bottom of the image, that is for the rocks. So I select brush, click on the red eyeball button to remove the total red indicating parts. Brush size is okay. I give it a drag over here, but I cannot see the red indicating part, so I just re-click on this eyeball button. Now the red indicating part is visible, so I go ahead and continue my painting. Okay, it's done. I'm quite happy now. Okay, let me click on this done button. It's all done. And now let us increase the slider. Great. Light was reflecting over this part of the area, over this flat surface here. But after applying this polarizing filter, those all reflections have vanished. Now I can see that water is stacked over here between the rocks, which was not visible to me previously. Now if I toggle off this eyeball button to judge the polarizing filter effect, okay, you can see it clearly. Fine. Now what I'm going to do is that uh, I can recover further details out of this rocks. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add details enhancer to our filter stack. So where is details? Here it is. But let me drag this up and place it before polarizing filter. Great. And let me increase the small detail slider by a small margin, say about only 9 units, because if I drag it to 100%, again it is completely again it is going to completely ruin the image. So you have to understand that you need to use small amounts so that you maintain the naturality of the image. So similarly, I increase the medium details by 7 units, large by say 9 units. Okay, why not medium also 9 units? Okay, all are 9. But I think the water has been affected a lot. Though I have increased this by a small amount, but it has made the water look a bit more unnatural. So let me reinitialize all these three filters by double clicking on the sliders. Let me select this brush and choose this brush option. As usual, I am going to print on this rock surface, but since I cannot see my painting, I'm going to re-click on this eyeball button. Okay, now it's visible. So I'll go ahead and start painting. Okay, okay, fine. Now let's click on the done button and now increase the sliders. 9 units, uh, 9 units, similarly large 9 units. Let me click on this box and directly type 9. Fine. Great. Now let us toggle the top eyeball button to judge the difference between our original state of the image and the adjusted state. This was our original state and this is the adjusted state. Don't you think we have come a long way? Okay, we can use the split screen button to judge it parallelly. See, this is on the left side, you can see the original state of the image where most parts of the rocks were not visible. The details were not so detailed, but on the right side, you can see we have recovered lots of details from the rocks. Whereas the water is smooth enough to retain the naturality of the image. I think especially we've recovered a lot from this part of the image. See, as I drag it back, you can see, wow, really, we have recovered a long way. That's the reason I am obsessed with Luminar. It gives really a great result without ruining my images. It really adds, not adds, it really recovers details very neatly and with very less effort. Okay, let me close this slider by clicking on this split screen button over here. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add denoise filter so that finally we can remove the noise from our image. So here is a denoise filter. It is placed at the bottom of this stack. So let me close the filter catalog so that we can have the entire image. Okay, fine. Now let me double click on the image so that it is zoomed to 100%. Yes. Uh, that much of noise is not visible in this image. Still there is some noise. So what I do is that I increase the zooming level to 200%. Okay, now we can see the noise very clearly. So let me increase the luminosity slider to around 40%. Okay, we have managed to clean the noise. Let me give a boost to the color slider by around 34 units. That's okay. And now double click on the image. Okay, fine. Great. Now let us finally add vignette to our image. With this filter, we can complete our project. So I'm going to add a negative vignette of say about minus 78 units. Fine. A feather of positive 78 units. Great. Yeah, this is minus, this is plus. It managed well. Anyways, uh, and give it enough light. Say about 50 50 units would be perfect. That's about too bright. So let us decrease the slider to 40 units. Okay, this is perfect. Once again, let me toggle the eyeball button at the top of the layer. So when I click this, wow, it's awesome. I hope you are liking this, but I am really surprised how it has come up. I was actually quite happy with the image. I thought the image is too sharp, but after I recovered this much of details, I think Luminar is excellent. Awesome. Fine. You may adjust the filter amount slider as per your taste and preference, which is at the bottom of the filter stack. If you think it's too bright, then you just bring it down a bit. You need not go to the individual filters and alter them to get a natural look of your choice. You can do it directly from here. So let me keep it at 80%. Yeah, it is more soothing to the eyes. And let me toggle this eyeball button. Yeah, it has maintained the lighting conditions really well. Okay, now let us export our image so that later we can update it to our social media accounts or just to keep a copy of adjusted one. To do so, let us click on File and select Export. Okay, I am not going to alter any of them. Just give it a name, say uh, landscape. Fine. Click on, I'm going to save it on desktop. So I click on desktop and finally click on save. I am leaving it as a TIFF file so that, no, let us keep it as JPEG because I'm going to, anyways, click on save. From here, under the format, I'm going to select it as JPEG. And for sharpening, I'm going to select it high for this particular case. Uh, and let us leave everything as usual and just click on export. It has started exporting the image. It's done. Let us check how our final image turned out. So let me minimize my Luminar. Here is a file. Let me double click on it. Great. Let me switch to full screen. Awesome. We have come up a long way. I hope you understood how to utilize your filters depending on the images you are editing. That's all for now. Thank you and have a nice day.